today I thought I would do a sit down video with you and kind of go through my educational experience or university, what I've done since I've graduated. We all know that life as a student can be incredibly stressful. You've got deadlines and exams, essays, presentations, work to do, probably all-nighters to pull. You've got family and friends calling when you've not really got time to speak to them. Pretty much most of the time you don't have any money, and that makes it an additional stress as well. So why do we put ourselves through it? Well, in my opinion, it's an investment in your future. It's training for your career or the job that you want to go into in that industry, but also kind of pushing yourself and growing as a young adult. It might sound a bit cheesy, but university is full of lots of experiences that push you and help you discover the kind of person that you are. It's definitely a place where you're going to meet really important people in your life, lots of friends. They will become a support system for you. They might become your competition. They might become a partner that you open up a company with or whatever. But they're going to be a massive network for you in the future as well. Whatever course you do in whichever university, wherever in the world, you're going to have quite a similar experience. Things like university lectures, they might be on the same kind of topics. The projects that you do or the essays that you write will still have very similar questions. And you'll probably hear the same kind of anecdotes by lecturers and professors and so on. You'll probably experience and have training in the same kind of softwares, because these types of things tend to be across the industry, so they have to be international. But the one thing that will vary is your personal journey as a student. And looking back once you've graduated or a few years after, that's the kind of thing that you then appreciate, and you kind of look back on with fond memories, or maybe some horrible drunken memories and so on. But the stress and the hard times, they're not something that really stick in your mind too much, and the fun times are what kind of stands out. So I studied architecture the whole 7 years, which is, as I refer to it, a life sentence. But I have no regrets. As many people do, I moved away from my home city to another city to go to university. That's maybe not a typical thing to do these days, because it's all an additional cost and so on, so I completely understand that. But it was a fantastic opportunity to get to do that, and it kind of helps you learn more about how to live on your own, or how to live with roommates and housemates and so on, who splits out the bills, who's chasing who up for money, who's left whatever around, and just daft things like that as well. But it is really fun. It makes you meet new friends and you build lots of different relationships, and it helps you also push your boundaries and gain more confidence and become a stronger person as well. So I would say I spent my degree working really hard, but I also socialised quite a lot. So I was out maybe every kind of second Friday night or Thursday night or whatever it was, student night. We'd quite often kind of meet round friends' houses and do projects together, build models together, all that kind of thing. I think working around other people really helped me, and it kind of encouraged me, and it was almost like a support system. You kind of build a family at university of other students and so on. But that family, those people that I met at university, they've become a kind of network now within the industry, and I've encouraged them with external examining at the university that I've taught at, and I've written articles for journals with people that I was studying with and so on. And I've worked with other people from different courses on different projects, as well as a kind of collaboration. So I graduated very happy and proud of my grade. I got a 2-1, which I think genuinely is a good degree result to have, because it shows that you were a good student, but you also had a bit of a social life, therefore you have a character to you. I definitely am not the sort of person that encourages chasing grades and putting that much pressure on yourself. University is about gaining the experience and the knowledge and the skill set and everything, but it's also about building your character and meeting all these people and having a really good time whilst you are a student, because it is an investment of time and money. It's a huge investment, and you want to get as much out of it as you possibly can. I would not say go into this pushing yourself for a first, you know, if that means that you're going to miss out on certain things and maybe have regrets at the end of the day. So after graduating, I moved back home, and I basically went off to a big architecture firm in the city, and I worked there for a year. I worked on some large projects, things like hospitals. I did a children's hospital. I worked on a master plan and urban design and a 3D computerized model, which was quite a new thing back then. I worked pretty hard in that job. I didn't necessarily enjoy it very much, and it did put me off architecture quite a lot. It was a very male dominated world, or male dominated office, and I didn't feel very comfortable. I was quite young at the time, and it was really my first job in the industry, and there was quite a lot of pressure put on me as well. So I didn't feel supported, like I was learning and being encouraged on the job. Needless to say, I lasted, I think, just under a year. So I basically took the salary from that job and I handed in my notice. I exchanged the salary for a very exciting trip around Asia and Australia. So I flew off for, I think it was 3 months. I took a month to travel around Asia, and I did Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Borneo, and a few other places as well. And then I did the coastal route around Australia for 2 months. So it was fantastic. After doing the job, I needed that time to myself. Just have a bit of fun again. I'd also kind of been put off architecture, which has happened numerous times now, and that might happen to you. I'd say don't be scared of that, because it was terrifying when it happened to me, and I was kind of thinking, I've put myself in this position of one subject, one industry, one job. My first job in it was not a good experience, then what was the next experience going to be like? But it has got better. So when I came back, I decided that I would apply to the art college to see if I could do my master's there, so my postgraduate. I went to quite a technical university for my undergraduate, so I wanted to do a more creative course for my postgraduate. Now, the art school was something that I'd always looked up to and I thought was going to be a fantastic experience. And it turned out to be quite a crazy world full of kind of competitive egos, which I didn't really take very seriously and I found quite difficult to actually settle in with. I made a couple of really good friends and they are very close friends now. But I was very lucky that I was actually awarded a scholarship there and I was able to go off and finish my studies in Japan. So I attended a University of Engineering in Japan, just outside of Hiroshima, and I finished my dissertation and final major project there and started actually teaching at the university, or giving tutorials to students as well. So my experience in Japan was fantastic, and is definitely something that I would have never imagined I would have got the opportunity to do, or I would have had the courage to go off and do. I don't think I fully was aware of what I was getting myself into when I boarded that flight with Learn Japanese in 5 days or something on my brand new iPod that I'd bought myself. But yeah, I managed to pick up some of the language and managed to kind of make a few friends that were genuine friends and have a really good time. It was a crazy time, it was a crazy experience, and one that I look back on and just think all these stories are just amazing. I finished my postgraduate master's studies in Japan and came back home. I moved back home because I had pretty much no money left after all the travelling and living abroad and everything, and I needed a job. And I was very, very lucky that I walked in on a job through a few connections that I had. The jobs that I was working on were much more residential, so they were a little bit more fun and a kind of quicker turnaround in planning and so on. I also stayed in that job for a couple of years, I think it was, and I did my chartered exams in the office there. So I became an architect and I left that company and I ended up off in India. And India is definitely another video or a couple of videos because it is a very long story. But this is where I transitioned from working as an architect to teaching architectural design at university. Now, I never thought that I would become any form of lecturer, teacher, tutor, whatever until the point that maybe I'd retired from working as an architect. I don't think that many people go into architecture, or maybe they do, I'm not very sure, but I don't assume that many people go into architecture not thinking they're going to be an architect at the end of the day. But my career journey or path has kind of had its ups and downs, had its side tracks or whatever you want to call it. And I've gone from architecture to interior design to furniture design to urban design to teaching, different articles and publications, back to teaching again. So it's been an interesting journey and a lot of variety along the way, which only helps you develop as a person and learn more. I feel like I've been very lucky in that I've got to travel a lot with my job, I've got to travel a lot with my education as well. I've met some fantastic people along the way, and I have some buildings that are built or are in the process of being built. That makes me feel really proud. So basically I wanted to kind of come on here today and just have a chat with you and just sort of say, don't worry about things, just enjoy it. Enjoy what you've got going on right now. Try not to be overworked and too stressed about things, and make the most of it. So I thought it might be quite nice, whether you are studying right now or have studied and have graduated or are applying or whatever stage you are in your career, put a comment down below and let's start a conversation about what it is that maybe made you go off to university, or what your experience was like, or what you thought it was going to be, what kind of job you thought you were going to go into, and actually where you are now, what your career journey has been like. And it would be really interesting to share these experiences as well. So I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and I will chat to you there. Bye!